Graham, good to see you again. I'll start just on numbers, as always, injuries-wise. How are you going into Saturday, and are you closer to welcoming back any of the longer-term absentees that you've had?
Yeah, but no, not close enough to be involved. So we've Anthony Sarsfitt and Aidan Bolden have been out on the grass, but only with a medical team, which a step forward. I think Alex Patterson will be on the grass later in the week. Apart from that, we are as we were.
With Aidan's injury, was there a setback at all with it? I remember when we spoke initially, it looked like it was going to be a month or so time frame, and that
he picked up a different injury, unfortunately, in his rehab, and so nothing major, but enough to stop his recovery from his other injury, and obviously treat the new one, sort of thing. So it's disappointing, but these things can happen, and we just have to keep working forward.
And how's Clark?
He was out on the grass, today as well, with the medical team running. So, like I said earlier in the week, I think it's just a pain threshold thing, because I don't think there's any problem with future injury with that. It's just bruising and a contact injury. So it had swelled up the week that he got it. That's gone down gradually, and he's pretty much free of that now. So it's just a discomfort that he's got to manage.
And just on the medical department front, we saw the club had put out an advert for applications for a new head physio at the club. So just what's the situation there? That must suggest that there's some change.
Yeah, Matt came to see me last week to say that he'd been offered a role at Everton Football Club, and he wanted to take it, and that was it. Really, that's it, as interesting as it goes. So when you go into different levels, we always have to understand the person, whether it's a player, whether it's a staff member, in their own career progression or what they see fit, and we'll never keep people here under duress, or if they don't want to be here. That's how we understand. Everyone's got their own life to lead, but he'll be working with us until we obviously recruit somebody else. That's what it is, really. It happens all the time in football. People move on, analysts, medical staff, scouts, all that sort of thing. It happens all the time. So it's nothing that we haven't faced before as a management staff.
A few days on now from the Doncaster game. Just on reflection, what were the main takeaways from your perspective from the performance?
Our mistakes led to counter-attacks, and which I think we actually did get better at in the second half. At half-time, we didn't, the actual goal, the first goal wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a counter-attack where they sliced through us. It was just a big boot up the pitch, and so we'll face 4 or 5 of them every single game, regardless of the opponent. But if you don't deal with the first contact, second phase, you don't make contact in the opposition, then you're going to concede goals. That's it. So we've and then in the attacking third, I think they defended their box better than we did us. I think we had much more box entries and all that sort of thing, all the data behind that, but they were much more clinical than us, and part to do with their forward players taking that advantage, and part to do with their defenders stopping our forwards from doing the same thing at either end as often as they did. So there's a bit to learn from it from our perspective, but I don't know how many teams will have that much space to counter-attack us going forward, or have the quality to take advantage of that, I should say. But there was times where we're turning over the ball where we shouldn't be turning over the ball, and we always commit players forward. We always want to attack. It's how we want to play, and you're going to get the odd game where you're a little bit loose, or it's double. You turn the ball over too easy and you're too open. But I just we talk about our first thought and our first in defensive actions. Our first action is to be a step forward, and it wasn't really that. It was a step back, and that's where we allowed them to make 50, 60 metres quite quickly on our final third. But we had in the first 15 minutes we had 4, 5, 6 really good moments and possessions in good areas. with opportunities to have an effort at goal, which we didn't take, and then even at 0-0, just before they scored, I think Cookie has that header that flashed past the post. These are the moments that they go for you and they swing a game your way, or they don't, and then the reverse happens. And I thought Saturday was a case in point of that.
And very much building on that answer then, 90 minutes doesn't define a team's quality or a team's season by any means. When you look at it comparatively, the quality between the two sides, and obviously two teams vying very much for the same ambition, how do you look at what they've got, where you are, and do you think it's very similar? Do you think there's a difference at all?
I can't go into how good they are over the course of the last 3 months. We analyse their previous 2 games and we take the opponent in there, but have I looked too deeply into what they've done what each individual has done over the last 3 months? Not really. My focus is our players. I know what, I've been in the game a long time and I understand that a lot of games are really in the balance. I think they had really outstanding highlights, as in counter-attacks, which we were open. But in general play, we never felt under pressure. We never felt pinned in or that. I think we were just loose in that. So there was bits that can happen in games. But we'll compare our team against other teams when the league table is finished after 46 games. That's the barometer. We will play better than other teams at times. We won't play as good as other teams at times. But overall, we have to obviously play better than teams the majority of the times to win games. But we've had a good record against Doncaster since we got here. There were moments in that game which could have swung it in our favour. Even the goal we conceded, we've spoke about it on Monday, and the lads are always honest and they took account for what they could have done better. That's how we work. I wouldn't expect to concede a similar goal in a similar fashion going forward. So us comparing ourselves with Doncaster is irrelevant. We have to compete against 23 other teams, not just one.
Tyler was given a nod on Saturday to partner Andy, and as you've outlined, look, Andy's in this team, not given, obviously it's on how people train and who you select, but just in terms of at the moment that spot for second striker, so to speak, alongside Andy as it stands right now, for you, what do they need to do in that role? Because we might look at it and go, as a striker they need to score goals, that's the definition of success. But I know you've mentioned in Callum's case that isn't what you want. So what as manager of this team, what does that second striker need to be alongside Andy?
It's the same as every other player. They need to help the team win. That's it. It's not about I don't know. I don't want a team that's got two great goal scorers and we finish 13th. What's that? It's the team. They have to help the team. Same as the midfielders, the centre halves, the goalkeeper, or everybody, wing backs. It's about helping the team win. And there's parts that I judge players' performance, and they're all different because I have different targets for different players because they're not the same players. So we try to understand what they are as individuals, what they bring to the team, and then we have sort of benchmarks for that. So Andy Cook, trying to find anyone in League One or League Two with the same goal scoring record as Andy Cook. Where is that guy? So we're not looking for that. We're looking for when we build a team, put it together. You look into. I think I said this in the summer. Each individual can't tick every box you need to win a game of football, but your team has to. So whatever one player can't do, we have to have somebody else that can do that, and vice versa. So they all blend in, and we tick a lot of boxes. And Cookie's outstanding at some things and not so good at other things. Same as every other player. And we need to have a forward line that ticks a lot of the boxes. That the team needs to progress up the pitch and sustain attacks, and also obviously add goals to their game, because that's all strikers will get judged on that at the end of the season or by other people. But for me, it's what they bring to the team and add value to that. So I think that each player, I pretty much know what they could offer the team, and it's those things. And they know, we speak to those individuals, they know what we expect from that particular individual, and I don't put anyone in the same box as Andy Cook and say, we need that from you, because they're all different.
Yeah. Does that help, do you think? Just not having that pressure maybe to be the goal scorer that maybe some might put on them because they're playing up front?
You'll have to ask them, but I like to set targets for players or expectations of the players which they can achieve. We always try to stretch them a little bit and try and get more consistent with it, but we don't try and ask them to do things that they're potentially not capable of, or they have other attributes that they want to highlight, and that's why we signed them. So that's the thing. So I think, and we don't want, I don't know, I'm not sure about having somebody that's in competition with Cookie as in goals, or I think I like that side of it, because I think it's important that they have that. And I think all the strikers that we have, I think they all want to score goals. They don't say, I'm just in the team to do this. Everyone gets a buzz from scoring goals, and I think they've grew up scoring goals. So there is that. But I think I don't think they're all capable of doing that. That's the reality. I think Callum proved it last season. I think Ollie's proved it in his few games before he was ill, and he's found his way out of the team, but he's come back stronger now. So we've and obviously Tyler has scored goals in his career, and Verdane before he came here scored an awful lot of goals for Gillingham. So they're all capable of that. So I don't see, but I'm not going to that. The other striker that has played next to Cookie, you need to score to stay in the team. I haven't been done that. They have to help the team win.
Separately, we saw Stefan was in attendance at the game on Saturday. Obviously, it was over. Did you get a chance to speak with him? And if so, how did that all go?
Yeah, he came in on Thursday, so we had a slightly different week last week because of travelling from Cheltenham and get back so late. So we were in on the Thursday, and he came in to see me in the office. So had a good chat, me, him, and Ryan, chatting about the issues we've had over the last couple of months. But he was really, really pleased with the position in the league, considering all those problems we've had. So that was good. And then we just touched on January, what we might potentially have to do and stuff like that. But it was good to see him.
Do I ask you about January yet, or is it?
No, please, no. No, it's just because we obviously have he has visits here and there, so it was just a conversation on generally, and maybe going off, the issues we've had injury wise. Do we have to sort of support that in January? But we didn't go in depth or anything. We just talked briefly about that sort of thing. It's that time will come.
Leave that for a little while.
Yeah, please.
Finally from me, FA Cup. Obviously we've spoken recently about the magic of the FA Cup and how good that is. What for you? What does it do? A competition like this? Is it a nice break away from the league focus?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I think it brings a different sort of atmosphere around it, and not in particularly the actual game, maybe, but. Or maybe if you're playing someone from a different division, because it's a different challenge. But the build up to it, the feeling, it's hard to describe that feeling, I suppose. But I think it's in everyone's bones and in their history, because we've all supported our own clubs as growing up and stuff, and everyone's got something to do with the FA Cup and I think it's the history of the FA Cup and the mystique. It's the oldest cup competition in the world, all those sort of things. And we're lucky enough to participate in that and potentially, create good memories for everybody. So I think it's that. It's probably really in depth in our psyches from our childhood, maybe seeing our teams do whatever, and it's still in there if you're a football supporter, basically. So we're looking forward to it. It'd be a tough game. We're well aware of what they did in the cup last year against a league club. So. We won't take anything lightly. We'll show them the respect we do to every opponent. But we're looking forward to the whole game, really.
And does that change your messaging in terms of that argument of complacency, playing a team in the league below? Do you have to just remind the players of that, or do they know that themselves?
Well, we don't change it because we talk about it all the time about respecting every opponent, but in a certain context, so not building them up to be this and not putting them down to be that, and just expect what we expect from them, and put the expectations on us and what we can provide in the game and produce, and that's what we try to do. And I believe if you do that right enough at the time, then that will put you in good stead. And if you're that focused on your own game that is, you're really determined to do the best game. I think that flows into every other thought you have. So if you think about the opponent, you're determined, you focus. So we do that as a benchmark for us because it is the most important aspect. But I'll be extremely disappointed if anyone took the game lightly. That we won't give them the impression that we take any opponent lightly, and that's in every competition, regardless. And I include pre-season in that. I think it's a habit. It's a discipline that you instill in yourself and your team. And you can't turn away from that on any occasion.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, mate.
You mentioned the FA Cup being almost in the DNA of a football supporter. Do you have any special memories as a fan, player, manager?
Just obviously playing in the FA Cup and managing it is been special for me as a professional. But the best, most outstanding one was when I was a kid, when I supported Coventry City when I was growing up, and obviously won the FA Cup in '87 when I was 15, season ticket holder, going with my mates week in, week out. So that's the most special FA Cup memory for me. Unfortunately, I wasn't in that team or around that team, but I felt like I was because I was one of the supporters. So that was I'd love to experience anything like that again. Obviously the playing opportunity has passed now, so I'll have to be as a coach.
Do you think some of the feeling has changed with the amount of football that's live? Because in those days, that was probably the only domestic game that was on.
It has. Yeah, it definitely has. The enormity of the Premier League, the Champions League, all those sort of things. I think it isn't the showcase game it has been. I've seen it. Hasn't there been a 5:30 kick-off at one point, or the same day as league games when it was in its own sort of weekend, wasn't it? The whole week was led up to the FA Cup, and the whole country watched it because, like you said, there was a lack of live TV, live football week in, week out. I remember watching it all the time. It was, it was on from about like 12 o'clock, I think, and you'd see the players on the bus, and around the hotel, and it was stuff that you never saw as a supporter. So. It was really special for you, even if it wasn't your club involved. It was just seeing the behind the scenes and the FA Cup. It was amazing like that. So it has. I wouldn't say it's lost it. I think just other things have superseded, other competitions, other tournaments, and but for us of a certain era, I think it's still special, and I think we can pass on those feelings to the younger generations. And I think people understand the history of it and how important it's been to a lot of people over the years.
As Bradford City fans know, a cup run for a club like Bradford can be important both on and off the pitch. Yeah,
I think every team at this level is and not just this level. I remember being a supporter of Coventry. We at Coventry as supporters, we were just used to fighting relegation every year and hanging on by our fingernails and winning the last game of the season. So when you get into quarter-finals and semi-finals, it was like, this is different. It was special. So I think it's it doesn't just have to be clubs at our level, but financially it's good. I think profile for the players is good. I think profile around the game. I think it's got its own rewards in a different way. So I think everyone looks forward to it. Ultimately, whatever competition you're in, you're trying to win. That's the thing. It's no good. You don't feel special if you get beat. That's the thing. But I know the previous cup runs the club's had in the past, 10 years ago or so, are still talked about. So that shows you, it's not just any old competition for everybody.
Cheers.
Okay, mate.
Us of a certain era, holding the FA Cup like that. I mean, I think you still talk to a lot of people, and they still do. I mean, I had a chat with the Aldershot manager this week, and Aldershot are very excited about this tie. There's still that buzz that perhaps because it does feel it's a different event, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's really hard to pinpoint what it is, but it's a feeling, and they're probably the hardest things to describe sometimes because it's just there. You don't try and generate it; it's just there for you. So, and look, we all look forward to it, and certainly when you're pitched against a team from a higher level, it's a test of your credentials and so forth, and you want to test yourselves at the highest level. So obviously Aldershot are coming to us at a higher level, but it's only one level between us, so it's not a massive big chasm to get concerned about. But so we have to have the same sort of feeling and emotion around every game. I think playing football should be like enjoyable. It should be exciting, regardless of, you know, you should never lose that sort of feeling of or take it for granted. I think you should. This is great. I'm playing football. This is the career that I wanted to do since I was 6 years old, or whatever it is. Your own history, and I think that should be enough to be excited about football. But you know, there's always 5% that a game of a certain type or a competition of a certain type can add on to that. So we'll be as excited about the game as they are come Saturday.
Have you spoke to Neil Bird about them last season? Because obviously I know it's a slightly different Aldershot team who lost a few players from last year, but obviously he was part of that Stockport side that got knocked out in the second round.
Yeah, no, I haven't. You know, because like you say, different players, different club for Burner, you know, as in who he's playing for and so forth. So. No, I don't tend to do that, because I think, you know, sometimes a player can have his own personal feelings from that game, and it's not the whole picture sort of thing. It's only his performance maybe, or the result, or whatever. So no, it's not something I generally do going forward. I think we just do our own analysis and just talk to the players on what's expected from them. But everyone knows in cup competitions it's never a given that the higher placed team beats the lower placed team.
I think it's 2020 was the last time this club got into the second round, so it's been too long coming. I mean, you know, a lot of supporters will just be desperate for a bit of FA Cup excitement, because I think, you know, recent memories are all a bit, it's all gone wrong again sort of thing. It'd be nice to, you know, build a bit of excitement up again, wouldn't it?
But it's the same as the league, the EFL Trophy. It's through winning, isn't it? That's the thing. We talked last week of the backing of the supporters at the end of the game, even though we got beat at Valley Parade, but it come on the back of a lot of wins. That was it, and we'd built up a belief and a feeling and an emotion and an excitement to come into Valley Parade to watch the team, you know, and how they play and how we compete. So you know, that goes for the FA Cup. I think we want people to want to come to Valley Parade, to come and see us, and to actually be excited about what they're going to see. I think in general terms over the last 5-6 months we've done that, and like I say, we have to take the pain of last week's defeat and get back to what we were doing before, and I expect our team to do that. So the supporters have been great with us, and we want to continue that on Saturday if we can.